I'm Kat.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Night Classy, a tipsy night class teaching the oddities and unexpected curiosities you never learned in school.
Powered by thirst for knowledge and boxed wine, we cover the most fascinating lessons in history, science, true crime, pop culture, and the paranormal.
What are we drinking for this learning journey, Haley?
We liked our cocktails so much last week. We have Dark and Stormies this week.
Yes, bring on the rum. We had a little gin action with our Patreon recording, and we're hooked. So
yeah,
we're on the sauce.
I'm all here for it. And we don't have 2 cups in the room. We have 3.
That's
Thrice.
right.
We have a guest here today. Special episode.
It's me, producer Alec.
He's always here, but now he gets a spot on the show today.
They're letting me talk, y'all.
These Dark and Stormies are very good, though. That's the name of it, right?
Yes, it is. For those who don't know, it's rum, ginger beer, and lime juice. So it's a Moscow Mule made with rum.
I enjoy rum. I like this way more than Moscow Mules.
Yeah, I think it's a tie for me. I think I just like ginger beer. Like, I like when things are spicy, and so I'll give me anything with ginger beer in it.
Oh, yeah. I could eat all of the ginger. I would ask for more ginger at sushi restaurants. I just want to freaking eat the ginger.
So good. Well, like you said, Alec is here. Do you want to tell everyone why you're here?
Yes. So when you subscribe to our Patreon at the Learning Wormy tier, is that correct?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think at the Learning Wormy tier, you get to pick an episode topic.
I don't know that that's true. I think we changed it after Haley.
Oh, okay.
joined.
I'll edit this out.
Okay.
If you subscribe to a certain tier on our Patreon, you get to pick a lesson. And I had done 2 different Patreon lessons on a treasure hunt that happened. And one of our new Patreons liked those episodes so much that the episode topic she picked was in that genre. And so she asked, could Alec continue his treasure hunt streak and do this Patreon topic? And I've never
She's sick of hearing from me and Haley. She hates
It was
our
a shot
voices.
across
Now
the
we're
bow.
just the sideline voices.
It was
And
heard
I'm
loud and
not
clear.
bitter about it. Not even a little.
So what we're going to do today is I'm going to teach the first lesson that is the Patreon pick, and then Kat and Haley are going to do mini lessons for the first time ever.
I have
Little
a fun
baby
little
lessons.
baby lesson. It was nice only having to research for like 5 hours instead of 10.
Yeah, that was really nice. I was running out of time today, and then it worked out so well because our start time, as usual, just kept getting pushed back hour after hour.
When Alec's research is pushing 20 hours, it throws everything off.
We plan on recording at 4 and now it's almost 8.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oops.
But now you can never get mad at us when we ask to delay recording because our notes aren't done ever
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said earlier too, you're like, oh, I have so much more sympathy for you guys now.
Yeah.
I always thought you did, but now after this experience, maybe
Yeah, definitely.
it's enlightened you.
But I will say this. Y'all's drinks you chose are very appropriate for my lesson.
Ooh, is it a pirate lesson?
Maybe.
Ooh, I almost did a pirate mini lesson.
Really?
But then
Mine is water adjacent.
Oh, okay. We could have had a little theme if that is even Alex.
Tires in somehow.
Oh, mine's tied in.
Oh.
Don't you worry.
Okay.
Is yours pirates too?
Don't
It's
pull it
not.
out of her. Leave it as a surprise.
It's not pirates, but you'll see.
Okay. I'm excited.
Me too.
Well, we have a lot to get to. We should probably jump into it, but I do have a couple plugs. First of all, our next virtual cocktail hour is coming up.
I just love having that to look forward to every single first Friday of the motherfucking month.
It's so fun. So we can't wait to see you guys there. It's available to all our tiers on Patreon, so it's not too late to join. This is going to take place on Friday, May 6th at 7 p.m. Central.
Which is my birthday, so you guys got to show up for my birthday.
Right. Should we reschedule it?
Hell no, that'd be great to do on my birthday.
Okay, fun. We'll have some cake.
Yeah, birthday hour.
Yes, it'll be really fun. Definitely join us. There will be a Zoom link on Patreon, and we'll see you all there.
Can have some tannin-free wine for Alex's 31st.
Yeah, I say we do margs for like El Seis de Mayo kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be
let's do it.
fun. Yeah.
You're the birthday boy. Whatever
what do you
want.
What do you want for dinner?
I completely hijacked not only this episode, but then the next cocktail hour. I'm like, this is my day.
Yeah, Haley, we didn't get a birthday cocktail hour.
I made my whole... That's true. We didn't. I was going to say, I had a whole lesson on my birthday about birthdays.
I completely ignored my birthday. I didn't do a damn thing for my birthday this year. We didn't even go out for dinner.
Yeah.
It's really...
Well, you get all sad and mopey around your birthday.
I don't get mopey. I get anxious.
You get anxious.
I get anxious. But it is what it is.
So fun.
It's so fun. Yeah.
So you can celebrate through Alex's birthday for our live cocktail hour with all of our patrons. May 6th.
May 6th. And then I also want to welcome our new listeners. We've been having a bangerang month with our downloads. So thank you to everyone who's joined us. Thank you to everyone who's shared our podcast, listened, reviewed. Please make sure to keep reviewing, keep sharing, keep following us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That's really good for us. And welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the fucking madhouse.
Yes.
I hope you enjoy your stay. If not, then you'll probably pick up at least a few party facts to start conversations in this post/ongoing COVID world.
Yeah. Thank you. And we're sorry.
Yeah. But seriously, thanks for listening in. We love you.
We do.
All right. Should we go ahead and jump into mine?
Let's do it.
Mine might be long.
How many pages do you have again?
Of notes? I have 9 pages of notes.
Oh my!
So.
Wait,
what
it was
point font?
8. It was,
Yeah, I know. It happened. It's still 11-point font, so.
Are you going to attempt to read it in 11-point font?
I'm going to go through and skip stuff as I need, but I wanted to have it all structured there. But we don't need to talk about this.
I just mean I have to bump my font up to 14
14
in order to
time.
read it on the pod and not lose my place. So you might want to.
This is super
a helpful
interesting
tip.
for the listeners.
Okay, you're already making this really fun for me. Go, do your thing.
I'm sorry.
Fight. Podcast fight.
I just didn't want to get into the weeds on font size.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Welcome, new listeners.
Yes. This is why I don't teach lessons.
Go.
All right. So it was an overcast day, and a young boy named Daniel, who was about 17 years old, is rowing a boat out to an island. The island is 600 feet off from the mainland of Nova Scotia, where he lives. So this is up in Canada and east of Maine. I have a slide. Bada bing. Basically just shows that this is right off the coast of Maine, up there in Canada. And it is a small island. It's 186 acres. I had to look up that a football field is 1.5 acres. Shelby Farms, our park here in Memphis, is 4,500 acres. So
Wow. I didn't realize a football field was a whole acre. Like a professional football field or a high school football field?
they're the same size.
Really?
And yeah.
Yeah, isn't that
That is
a
crazy because when
fact?
you watch football games, it looks huge. Not that I've ever watched a football game.
I was going to say, probably in the 2 times that you've watched a football game, it seemed
But
massive.
I go to professional soccer games pretty frequently, and that field looks massive. Like I played high school soccer, and the field was not that big. I refuse
think
to believe
when you
this.
take the field out of the stadium, it looks the same.
I don't know if I believe this, but go on, Alec.
All right. So it's 186 acres. The year is 1795, and young Daniel is rowing over to the island to investigate something. There's been a scary story in his town since 1720 about 3 green lights that were spotted on the island. And so 2 men rowed to check it out, and they completely vanished and were never heard from again.
Aliens.
There was 1 light for each man.
There were 2 men, 3 lights.
I thought there were 3 men. Sorry.
There were 1.5
I'm already losing
lights
track.
for
Yeah.
each man.
Cat's like, I'd like to emphasize this
1
point.
and a third.
1 1/3
for each man.
There were 2 men.
Oh.
3
yeah,
lights.
1 and a third for each man. 1 1/2. You're right.
Two
Jesus
and
Christ.
2/3.
I'm so annoying. Let me just drink my drink and you guys go ahead.
I wish you were my math teacher. I would have gotten much better grades.
Probably. It's in my first class of the day. I make so many mistakes because I'm still tired off. It's like 7 a.m. and
Easily, yes.
yeah, it gets better throughout the day, but that
If I
first
don't-
period is rough.
Oh, yeah. If I don't have my coffee, it's freaking over. Thank God I have 2 more grown-ups in my classroom to help carry the weight of all of these toddlers, literal toddlers running around.
I have like students who I consider like not grown-ups, obviously, but
Big toddlers.
higher maturity who can help me out in class.
Okay, so Daniel had seen these 3 green lights himself the night before. So this is like, what, how many years after the first one?
Like 70?
70 years later. So he'd seen the 3 green lights and was like, I'm going to go investigate this. So he reaches the island and he lands his boat on a sandy beach and he begins to explore the terrain. It was named Oak Island because of all these red oak trees that covered it. I have a slide. That's what the island looks like. Do you guys want to describe it?
It's
kind
a
of
jelly
looks-
bean.
Yeah, or I think it looks like a genie coming out of a bottle.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it kind of
It's
does.
like it kind of tapers towards the end and it's full of trees, but in the middle there's not any trees at all.
It kind of looks like a camel.
Yeah, it
There's the
does.
head.
Yeah,
There's
little
the hump.
humping
I love
along.
it. It looks like a jelly bean. It looks like a camel. It's like a,
Okay,
a
well,
Rorschach test.
It's like oblong, but then it has a little head.
She's slim thick.
Yeah, it actually does look like a camel if instead of legs that was just like little round things.
It's like a weeble wobble.
Yeah.
We camels wobble and we do fall down.
People driving in their cars are like, great, I can perfectly picture it. It's like a jelly bean camel weeble wobble. Got it.
I don't know how to describe it better than that.
It's bulbous.
And there
Yeah.
are clearings on it.
Yeah. But you can see how close it is to land, so it would
Yeah.
be strange if some people went out there to check something out and disappeared.
Yeah.
Maybe they had so much fun living on the camel that they never wanted to return.
Yeah. So there's the famous oak trees that cover it. You can see they're pretty big.
They are big. Why do they only have leaves on top?
I don't know. Maybe that's just how they grow. They sort of look like Australian or African trees.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Like a giraffe was eating them.
Yeah.
Or a camel.
But so that's why it's called Oak Island. And as he got into the forest, he came upon a clearing and made a strange discovery. At the edge of the clearing, there was an enormous red oak tree. Sounds like Game of Thrones.
Does.
He noticed that it had a branch 16 feet off the ground that was sawed off at the end, and hanging from it was an old rotting block and tackle, which, do you know what that is?
No.
It's like an old pulley and rope system. I have a slide for it, which was basically used to lift heavy things.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically one of those hooks with a pulley and a rope.
Yeah, it's like a human pulled crane.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he noticed one of those like rotting on the end of this branch, and it's used to lift heavy objects. So something about the clearing seemed man-made, and as he moved closer to the tree, he noticed something on the ground. There was a 13-foot diameter depression in the ground where it sunk in a bit more than the surrounding earth.
Right.
So Daniel thought all of this was peculiar, and he'd heard stories about the pirate Captain Kidd, who had said his treasure was buried northeast of New York. So they're northeast of New York, so he's like, this isn't outside the realm of plausibility. I would be thinking the same thing if I was 17 in the 1700s. When you're 17 in the 1700s. I thought I was referencing a song, and I
I
wasn't.
was like, what song is that?
Yeah, I felt so
Never
out of
heard
the
it before.
loop.
It felt like an Avril Lavigne song, like when you're 18 in the 1800s.
There's the
but
Taylor Swift
Young
song,
and
right?
sweet, only 17. I don't know the Taylor
Pirate
Swift
King.
song.
The
Pirate
15.
King.
Pirate King.
The Taylor Swifteen when you're 15 and you're
When you're
boyfriend?
15 and somebody tells you they love you. That song.
Yeah.
that song. That's the song.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
You don't even need your running playlist. We'll just
Yeah.
sing it for you.
Yeah.
Pro bono.
So, yeah, I guess there isn't a 17, I'm 17 living in the 1700s song, but I tried to improv that.
Should be a musical.
Yeah. So there's this thing in the ground. He's thinking maybe pirates, and Captain Kidd had said there might be treasure around there. So it's like getting late, and he's like, I'm going to go home, but I'm coming back. So the next day he rows back with his buddies, John and Anthony. They're all like 17. They return into the clearing and they lift Daniel up into the tree so he could examine the branch. He crawls out on the branch and he sees like scoring and damage where something was used mechanically to like set something into seemingly the depression on the ground. So the boys are excited. The 1690s to 1730s was like the pirate golden age. So they're kind of, just past that enough to think about it romantically, and it's still fresh enough that not all the treasure's been found. And so the three of them had brought shovels and they start digging into the 13 foot wide circle.
It's a lot of digging.
Yeah, it is a lot of digging.
Guys being dudes, digging.
Yeah. So 2 feet in, they hit something. They hit something hard.
They've already dug 2 feet across the entire
Well, it was
diameter,
already concave. The hole was already
but to dig 2 feet down in a 13 foot, is it the diameter or the radius?
The diameter.
That's a big space to dig.
Yeah. They didn't dig the entire thing. They dug out 7 feet.
Okay.
So it wasn't like they were doing that huge amount, but you will see that the digging is impressive here. So, and it's unclear how many days it took them to dig. So I don't want to give the impression that this all took place in one afternoon because I don't think it's possible. But so they hit something hard 2 feet down, and it's a layer of flagstones, which are basically those flat gray stones you use to like pave your garden. And so then they uncover, and the entire 13-foot diameter is paved with these stones. And this is like an uninhabited island. It's never been like used that they know. So they're like, this is weird. And so they pull up the rock. Oh, and the rock didn't come from the island. It's a river rock that doesn't originate there. So it came from somewhere on the mainland. And this sort of resembles a threshing floor, which basically back before we could mill grain, they would lay stones in a circle about 13 feet wide and have an ox with like a heavy board dragging behind it run over wheat piles. And it would basically just crush the wheat into the rocks and separate the grain from the husks. And that has a strong biblical reference. I guess it's used a lot in the Bible to represent heaven and hell. And Captain Blackbeard had said his treasure could only be found where the devil could find it. So some people think like, oh, maybe this is an allusion to the Bible.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, cool. Clear out the flagstones. They keep going, and right now their hole is about 7 feet wide. They dig down 10 feet from the flagstones, and they hit another hard surface.
10 feet down.
They get 10 feet down. That's no joke.
Oh my gosh. That's like, there is really not much to do.
Yeah.
No.
Like this room isn't 10 feet tall.
But I'm like, it's the 1700s. Like, haven't these boys been working for like a decade? Like, shouldn't they be at work?
Yeah.
Like,
Get
what?
your ass up and work.
Go back to the factory.
I guess it's probably more exciting to work for a potential treasure than
Definitely.
for a living.
But also, and what did shovels look like back then? Because
Probably the exact same as they do
you
now.
think so? You think the shovel
it
hasn't
was
changed?
post-metal age.
the innovation of the shovel.
Years? I don't know. I
They
feel
use
like
the fingers.
maybe, or a stick, like when we were in kindergarten and would dig with wood chips.
I don't think they did that. I think shovels looked exactly like they do now.
I don't know. I bet they didn't.
How did they bury people then during the plague?
Well, I'm sure
What
they
did they
had
use?
shovels. I just don't think
You
they're
think
as
they
like
were just-
ergonomic as our current
I think
shovels.
they were just wood chips.
And I mean, it maybe. I mean, who's to say?
Well, I think we can find out.
Okay.
Yeah, like playing cards have spades on them. That was like a hand shovel.
Are they like little hand shovels or is it a big boy?
I'm going to Google it.
Okay.
I'm going to play Alec for right now. He's
Yeah.
always Googling
Thank you.
things.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, my whole lesson got hijacked into shovel evolution.
Okay, when
Shovelution.
when we're not, I'm just gonna say when we're not bantering enough, Alec holds up signs saying "talk," and now we're talking during his lesson, and now he's irritated.
Oh, I'm not irritated.
Oh, how the turntables!
Okay.
I'm thrilled about the shovelution.
Exactly the same. They might be prettier.
That's not exactly.
I think it is.
No.
This
I'm with
one right
you.
here.
That
exactly
one doesn't
the
have
same.
a point. That would be very hard to
I'm
dig with.
sure they have ones that have points.
Also, check out that spade. I was pretty on the nose with
Yes.
that, wasn't I? Looks just
You
like a
were.
spade.
It does.
Spade.
Yeah.
Hey, I call a spade, if you know what I mean. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's our show. Just continually keep signing off. Okay, so 10 feet down, they hit another surface, and it's rotting oak timbers that are laid end to end, completely packed in a row, laying like a floor.
And that's where they got the phrase, shiver me timbers.
Yes.
They just like got really cold when they saw it.
Yeah.
We've been digging for so long.
And it's like the Kesha song where they're yelling, timber.
Yeah.
That didn't work as well as your joke, but
But shoot your shot. You
She
know?
did say that.
she said shiver me timbers, not they're yelling timber.
Yeah.
What?
The
I meant
kids were.
Kesha said.
Oh, I thought you meant Haley.
No.
No, not I.
We're just ships in the night right now.
That's what the kids said when they found the timber.
Yes.
We're yelling timber. Wow.
You better move, you better dig. There we
With
go.
your old shovel that doesn't work.
You're such a shovel hater.
Yeah, Kat's like, I think Steve Jobs actually like invented the shovel.
We had shovels before we had iPhones.
Okay, so yeah, they're finally ordered and they're embedded in the walls of the shaft. And it does not look like this is just wood that fell there. And so they're noticing on the walls of this that it seems like it's been dug before. They're noticing pick marks, like pickaxe marks in the kind of walls of this hole they're digging.
Ooh, hate that.
Yeah. So it seems like it's been dug before and refilled. And so they remove these timber things from the platform. Yeah.
Hell no. It could not be me. I would be like, okay, I've seen what I needed to see. These timbers are scary.
They're shivering.
And I'm
They're
tired.
making me shiver.
Yeah. But like if you had just kind of a hunch that there was treasure and then you hit the rocks and then you hit this 10 feet down, you'd be like, holy shit. Like this
Yeah.
seems organized.
I would definitely continue to dig.
I would only go home because the two other guys disappeared.
What?
Oh, the two
Remember
original
the two
guys.
original guys who went over there disappeared. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I am finding the thing that they were finding before their asses were grass.
Yeah, I might get an adult before their asses were grasses.
So they dig another 10 feet.
Jesus.
How does that not collapse? Maybe I don't understand how digging big holes works, but doesn't it?
We'll go,
How are they even
ground
getting
is
the dirt
compact.
back up?
Just throwing it, chuck it.
it's a whole thing. Like I think they had to build a ladder and have like buckets going up and down the ladder to get the dirt
Oh,
out.
That makes more sense.
Are they freaking rich? Why aren't they working?
But yeah, so
Yeah.
if you think about it now, they're 20 feet down. So they're about as deep as our house is tall.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And they just kept going.
Yeah, so after the first platform, they took the wood out, kept going, and 10 feet down, they hit another wood platform.
It was a house that was filled with dirt.
It's our
It was
house.
a ship. It's literally our house.
Yeah, I had something in here that was like, there was a depression in the ground from a hole, like our yard.
Our hole causes, not our hole, our lawn causes depression and
Yeah.
is a depression.
Of
It's
all
just
our neighbors.
Our hole causes depression.
our collective whole. This
Yeah.
is a rated R podcast, maybe even unrated.
What if this podcast was called Our Hole?
Oh my God.
Our hole in the middle of the yard.
Our Hole. Okay, so where was I? So they hit another hard surface, and pirate treasure is known for being like the better it is, the harder it is to uncover. So they're thinking, oh shit, like this is gonna be real good. So they remove the second platform of timber and they dig down to 30 feet.
Jeez.
So a standard telephone pole is 35 feet. We're at roughly 30 feet up in this 3-story building.
What if this was all just something to set people off their trail? The real treasure is just buried under some dirt nearby.
Yeah, it's just like right adjacent to the hole.
Maybe.
Just shrouded with some like hay they threw over it.
They just sprinkled some leaves on top. It's just like the most blatant treasure chest.
But that couldn't be it because it's hidden in plain sight. That's where all the oak leaves went from the
Oh,
trees.
they picked the leaves and then made a pile
Yeah.
over the treasure chest.
And then they spent 20 years digging a 30, 40, 50-foot hole to confuse.
So they're 30 feet down, and they realize they've gone as far as they can go with the three of them being able to work because it's too hard to get the dirt they're digging out of a 30-foot pit. So what do? They give up.
No way.
Yeah.
They're just done. They don't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, I was going to be like, town, I need your help.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. They try to go to the town and get help. A few years pass, and one of the boys, John, he like comes into some money, and so he buys the land that the island is on. So they're like a little bit older now, and they go to talk to everyone in town, anyone that can hear, like to get help about unearthing this thing. Because if you think about how big of a project that would be, just in terms of manpower and tools and stuff, they knew they needed help. But no one wanted to help because of that creepy story from the 1720s of the two guys disappearing. Like everyone was superstitious, and pirate treasures have curses like surrounding them.
Obviously.
So 7 years pass, and they can't get anyone to help them. But then in 1802, they attract the attention of a daddy.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of like names and characters in this, so I just subbed them in with like character archetypes.
Sweet. I like that. He's attracted my attention too.
I like him. So he was related to one of the boys' fathers, and he'd heard this tale in town and was intrigued. He was wealthy and sophisticated, so he's like, we're going to take this up a notch and put together a company called the Onslow Company, and we are going to figure out what's in the pit. So the Onslow Company consisted of 30 businessmen who like invested in it, and the three boys who are in their 20s now. In this 7-year gap, erosion had filled the hole back in.
Oh my God.
I'd
Yeah.
be so pissed.
Yeah.
So the Onslow Company started digging, and they get back down to the 30-foot mark that the boys had reached 7 years earlier, and they hit another oak platform. They go down another 10 feet, so they're at the 40-foot depth now, and they hit another oak platform.
How are they not hitting
like,
water?
yeah, that's what I was just going to say. How far do you have to go to like it fills with water?
It is the tunnel to hell.
Maybe.
Who knows?
You know.
I do know.
Tell us.
I do know.
Spoil it.
Tune in next week.
You know how Kat loves spoilers.
Yeah.
I was looking over his shoulder while he was typing this out.
Oh my God.
ready. Just kidding. I didn't do
Alec
that.
was like
He was-
tearing up.
It's like you said you wouldn't spoil
Never
this.
let me have it.
So down here at the 40-foot timbers, there's evidence of charcoal. And since 4000 BC, when people have been digging deep holes to circulate fresh oxygen down, they'll build a little chimney that goes to the top and light a fire down at the bottom. And the fire burning pushes air up, and so that sucks air down and creates like a little pressure system that brings
So
Interesting.
smart.
fresh oxygen in.
You'd think that a fire would take away oxygen.
Yeah, it does consume
Yeah.
it, but it's the upward thrust of the chimney that sucks it in. So
Interesting.
there's enough for the fire and us.
This hole's big enough for the both of us.
Yeah. And so they're thinking maybe that charcoal is from some kind of apparatus like this to circulate the oxygen. They go down another 10 feet. So we're now 50 feet deep. And so that's like a 5-story building.
How
Literally
wide
how?
is this pit?
Theirs is, it's unclear, but I think it's like 10 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. So at
No
50
thanks.
feet deep, they hit another platform and find some sort of putty substance. This putty is a man-made substance that was used to waterproof ships and is put like between window panes in the 1700s. It's like a hydraulic seal. And so they're now finding this like in between the logs. And they also
Okay.
find beach stones, which are just out of place. There are no beach stones around.
Hey, so we're getting closer to something.
To something. So they go down 10 more feet and they start to find coconut fibers.
What? That sounds very small. How did they see them?
There was a lot of them.
Oh, like it was like
Full of them.
in like a insulation almost.
So the closest coconut tree is 1,500 miles away. And coconut fiber was used like packing peanuts on ships back then because it never corrodes or it never decays in salt water. So it could have drifted 1,500 miles, maybe.
but it didn't.
How does it drift 1,500 miles and then end
Into
up
a
60
hole.
feet down in a hole
Yeah.
under these wooden platforms? Seems unnatural. So they hit a platform every 10 feet and they are now 90 feet down.
This is
Jesus.
insane.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is
I don't
like
understand how they're not hitting water.
Yeah.
This is like a 9-story building now. Like, look at that building across the street and think about how tall 9 stories is.
I'd be so scared in there.
Yeah.
Me
I'd get
too. It'd
very-
be dark.
It'd be dark, yeah.
And just fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 1800.
Yeah. When it gets that deep, yeah, the walls probably start coming down. Like they probably had to put like nets up or something, right?
Yeah, I think they had to brace the walls somehow, I would think. But so they hit a platform every 10 feet, and when they're at this 90-foot mark, they find the most intriguing thing so far. A large rectangular stone slab weighing roughly 300 pounds. Some accounts said 500 pounds. It's
What?
3 feet long and 2 feet wide, and it's a foot thick. So it's like maybe about the size of one of these tables we have in here. And it's a dark olive tone Swedish granite that's not natural to the area. So they get their tools and ropes and hooks in it and they lift it out. And as they unearth it, they notice something. On the bottom facing side of the stone, as it's lifted up, they realize on the underside, it has cryptic markings etched into it. And it's like a secret code carved into the rock.
What if it was just like a drawing of a pirate and he was like sticking his middle finger?
It's just covered in penises.
It's like the dick butt
Yeah.
meme. So they're like, what the hell? And this was first reported to the Halifax Sun and Advisor newspaper. And the quote was, they'd found a stone cut square 2 feet long, about a foot thick, with several characters cut on it. So a lot of these guys in the excavation company were Masons, Freemasons. So we know about them. They love secret codes. So this thing stumps all of them. And they're like, this is crazy, this code. We can't figure it out. So there's no existing rubbing of the stone. And they don't, but we do have a copy of the inscription, which you can see here.
Do you think
yeah. So
they use that pulley then to get that stone down and these timbers down into the pit?
yeah, the thought is they use that for a lot of stuff. But here's a
Okay.
diagram that kind of lays out where we are so far.
Okay, and this helps me because when you were describing the stone, I probably missed part of the description, but I was picturing it as a stone slab covering it, but it's just like sitting in there.
What do you mean?
Like that little stone. Like
Yeah.
you can like take it out. It's not covering it vertically or horizontally.
Yeah, it was laying in there, but this is a 13-foot
Yeah.
space, so
And look, the tide level was at 35 feet.
yeah. So if you want to see this, I had forgotten to turn my slides on so far for the YouTube people watching, so forgive me, but now I've got my slides on so you can see this. Kind of helps just to picture it, I think.
Yeah.
But so here is the thing. It says Epstein didn't kill himself. That's the translation.
What?
Shut up.
It does not mean that.
Stupid.
This was when I Googled the translation of it, this was the first thing that
Oh
popped
my
up.
God.
It says Epstein didn't kill himself. So this is the closest replica of it. And how would you guys describe what you see?
It kind of looks like if you were playing a game, like it looks like what a like coded message would
Yeah.
be like.
Like we have that fantasy game, role-playing game that has the rubles.
Yeah.
It has like triangles, dots. One symbol does look like a cross. There are rectangular shapes, circles with a line through it, and there's one that kind of looks like a star almost.
Yeah, they kind of look like Viking runes.
Yeah, it's kind of got runes vibes mixed with like your password when you were a kid when you just did like all punctuation characters.
Yeah.
So I want to be clear that we're not sure if this is the actual inscription. A professor of languages claimed that if you use a substitution cipher with this one, where basically a substitution cipher would be each character just represents an English letter, that it can spell out, I'm not sure if I have this. No, I do not. So it spells out 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And IBM had a cryptographic department analyze it. This is, hundreds of years later, obviously. And they surmised that the transcription is a hoax. And so they're not saying that the stone is a hoax, but that what we perceive today as the inscription probably was not what was actually on there.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little too convenient.
Yeah. And so you would think, well, why don't we know what the actual transcription is? Or inscription.
Yeah.
And so John, one of the original boys, when they found this thing and he'd bought the land, he was building his house on the island. And he was like, this is badass. He builds it into his fireplace fit with the inscription facing out.
Cool.
Yeah. Pretty badass.
But also cursed.
But also, like, that shit should be in a glass box. Like, don't put it on your fireplace where people can touch it.
Yeah. I think he didn't want anyone to steal it. And he also said it was like his pride and joy. He showed it to everyone. So there are firsthand accounts of hundreds, if not thousands, of people who witnessed this thing. And so it's not just kind of conjecture.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that have reportedly seen it. So
but why didn't anyone... I mean, I'm sure people did, but you would think that a bunch of people would, like, copy it down on paper, and we'd still have those papers from the time.
What happened to it?
Yeah.
Definitely. So decades passed, and his house was renovated, and a wooden staircase was built in the living room that wrapped around the old fireplace. And a historian 60 years later was like, I think it used to be in that guy's fireplace. And he went and took out a panel of wood and found it under there. And so this historian found it. And then another investment company later on wanted to get money to do another treasure dig. And so they went and got it and pulled it out and brought it to Halifax, which is a bigger city in Nova Scotia. And they had some savants look at it and try to decode it. They could not. So then another investor gets it and he tries to show it to shareholders around to get more investments. It didn't work. Eventually in 1919, it ends up in a bookbinder's shop. The bookbinder was the treasurer of one of these treasure hunt companies, but he used it as the base of like his leather beading thing.
No.
What?
And so a lot of the inscriptions got beat out, but like his kid said he remembers being in the shop and like seeing it all worn smooth.
And
This
all
is
this
asinine.
time, nobody took a rubbing or copied it down?
Yeah, it's infuriating.
That's crazy.
There's the theory that the people that had it did not want other people to know because it was specific information. But that also doesn't quite line up with this thing of like, let's get everybody to see this thing. It's kind of
Yeah.
unclear. So it gets worn down in that book binding shop. And then the last place it was seen was used as a doorstop in a bookstore in Halifax.
What in the world?
And nobody thought to rescue it?
I
Guess
was
not.
shocked when they built a staircase around it. At
Yeah.
least then it was preserved behind the wood,
Yeah.
still within the fireplace.
Also, I don't know how you're using a fucking 300-pound thing for a doorstop, but
More like a door trip.
yeah. But so a historian said in 1925 that there's still hundreds of people alive who have seen the inscription and confirmed it exists. So, that's getting close to modern times where people had seen it with their own eyes. Again, I don't know why we don't have a rubbing of it. But back to the hole. This was like 1803 or something. They're 90 feet down. They just found the coated stone and they think, okay, we are close. So they push a pole, like a little pole with a core in it, like down into the ground, and they probe, and 2 feet down, they hit something hard. And keep in mind, they're on the 90-foot level, 10-foot platform. So they're like, there shouldn't be another 10-foot platform 2 feet down.
Yeah.
So they're like, ooh, this is cool. So they go home for the night, and the next day they come in, and the hole has filled up with water to the 60-foot mark.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That gave me goosebumps. That's great. What?
Yeah.
What? Also, how could you just go? It's 2 feet. Dig 2 more feet that night. Don't go home.
I feel like, but I'd kind of want to go home because then, like, you have that anticipation. Laying in bed, you're like, I'm gonna find it tomorrow. It's like Christmas.
No, I could not. I would stay up all night if that's what I had to do. I would stay up all night and dig those final 2 feet with a fucking wood chip if
You're
I
all
had
by
to.
yourself, just digging. Green lights are gonna take you. You can't stay after dark.
Well, if I'm there, then I'm down for the green lights to get me because I should have known better.
The green light is just the tide drowning you in the 90-foot hole.
Oh no.
So it's filled with water. This military colonel who's in charge of the dig, he has everyone bailing out water with buckets day and night, but it does not put a dent in the water level. So they shut down production in 1804, and the Onslow Company pays a guy to pump water out of the pit. So the pit is drained back down to the 90-foot mark, and then suddenly the pump bursts, and it floods completely back up with water, and it's wintertime, so they have to quit.
My God, the pirate curse.
Yeah. So in 1805, winter has passed, the ground is thawed, and they build a new shaft that is 14 feet wide, and it's 14 feet away from the original flooded shaft. So they get down to 110 feet in this one. So if you can imagine the original's at 90, this one they've gone down to 110.
And it's not filling with water.
It has not filled with water. And their theory is that we'll come down to 110 here and we'll cut across laterally to the other hole. And we're going to hope that the timbers at 90 feet and at 100 feet are holding the water back on this one.
Scary.
And that will resume going down the usual path, right?
It ain't worth it anymore. Like drowning in a hole.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. So it's not
so dark.
Yeah.
If they go over from there.
Yeah. So they thought, maybe the water problem will just be above them. But you guessed it. Nope. They get close and water bursts through the tunnel in like a huge explosion. And there's 2 men down there. And one of them, as the water's bursting through, allegedly saw a painted wooden dish. And luckily those 2 guys escaped and no one died, amazingly.
Okay. That's good.
The painted wooden dish thing, I only found one account of that, but I thought it was intriguing.
Yeah.
Creepy detail.
Little creepy detail.
And that's another creepy detail.
Yeah. There's a lot of details about this that I'm not even including, and there's a lot of bullshit about this out there, so I'm trying to kind of keep this as factual as I can.
Yeah.
But it's one of those stories that has
There's like a lot of lore.
around it. Yeah. So this puts the nail in the coffin for the Onslow Company, and they fold. Nothing else happens for 46 years.
Wow.
In 1845, a new company is formed called the Truro Company. And Daniel, the original boy who'd sailed out, he unfortunately has passed away. He and his buddies are in their 50s now. So John and Anthony, his other friends, they're still alive. They were 18 when they found it. And Anthony, one of the original boys, he shares his whole story with like a documentarian or recorded history person. And at that point, and that's when that gets on the record, his whole account.
That was smart of him to do.
Yeah, exactly. So this new company that's formed, they spend 4 years coordinating and planning, and they basically hire a bunch of civic engineers, which is way better than all these other people that were just digging. And that company they're not able to do anything for 4 years, but when they finally get their act together in 1849, they are using like core drills. So from what I understand, they can push like a pole all the way like 100 feet down and then like twist a drill and it'll drill a core down at the base. So they don't have to be down there. But so they have that so they can kind of figure out what materials are down there. And so they send one down to the 90-foot flooded hole. And at the 98-foot mark, they hit something hard. And then they like feel / hear like rattling through the drill bit, which I can only imagine you'd feel so much 100 feet away.
It's so
but
far.
Yeah.
you can also sort of imagine that if you're going through solid stuff and then you hit something open. So they're like, well, that felt weird. And then they're in something solid again. And so they pull it back up. And basically at the 98-foot mark, they hit something, it rattles, and they pull up 4 inches of spruce and then empty space down a foot, and then 4 inches of oak, and then loose metal that they heard. And then they hit another 8 inches of wood, loose metal, and then 4 more inches of wood and spruce. And they're trying to figure out what this is. And their best bet is that it was 2 treasure chests on top of each other, and it went through the oak on the top. Oh. It rattled the treasure inside, oak again, treasure inside, oak, spruce as the floor.
Yeah. And what kind of metal was it?
Well, one of the drillers, like 50 years later, said he saw yellow metal on the drill bit, but he said he didn't tell anybody because he was like feeling selfish, and I guess you get kind of scared when you're around treasure because you don't want to tell just anybody. So he says he saw it, but again, that's just an account. So the whole physics of this sort of befuddles me. So I don't have a lot of answers if you are confused at home, but you can sort of imagine this, right?
Yeah. It's a, yeah.
I don't understand how they made the hole in the pit in the first place.
With the core drill?
No, when they made it the first time.
Oh, when they dug?
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not, and I'm not talking about the boys.
When they buried
I'm talking
it.
about whoever buried whatever is down there, how they did that, how long it had been down there, if that stuff was rotting. They found rotting wood.
Yeah. And if you think about the fact that this had to have been done at least 100 years before the kid found it, conceivably, and that they're struggling now with the 1800s technology to even get down there. So, do you want to close that? Thanks. So, where was I? I'll edit this out.
You were saying with 1800s technology.
Oh, yeah. It's just crazy that they're not able to do this with now conceivably hundreds of years of advancement in technology.
Totally.
Yeah. Do you think maybe it like, I mean, I guess it would be just as deep. Like, I was thinking maybe like more dirt
had built
piled
up.
on, but still.
It'd probably be about the same.
Yeah, with all the wood platforms. Yeah, that's wild.
So they drill a neighboring shaft, the same as the other company, but it floods. And someone notices that the water rises and falls with the tide. So they're like, maybe the water is somehow coming from the ocean. But they're like, we dug the hole. Like, it's not connected to the ocean. How could that be happening? But so the engineers go out to the beach, and at low tide, when the water's out, they notice like water like bubbling out of the ground in certain spots. And they're like, well, that's weird.
Their cave?
It's like as the ocean recedes, the water that's stuck in the holes is like getting pulled out now too. And so they realize that the entire beach is man-made. It's artificial beach.
What?
Yeah. So they excavate the entire cove by building a dam. Like, there's these certain dams you can build to where you build the dam and then you like pump the water out. So then it's like a dry bed.
So they built like a dam around the island, or just around? I'm confused.
So like, I
Around
should
the
clarify, this is like that part of the jelly bean that was like the genie tail.
Yeah.
And so it's like a cove. And they're looking at this beach that's like a C-shaped cove. And then they're building a dam that's like another C shape around it.
Okay.
So it's forming sort of like an oval.
Circular.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And is the hole on that man-made part?
Okay, yeah. So to clarify, the hole is about 500 feet in from that beach. So they're like, okay, so this is a man-made beach. They build this dam, and they discover this elaborate stone drain system where basically on this beach they find 5 like finger-like tunnels that are 4 feet by 2 feet, made with flat stones, lined with beach stones and coconut fiber. And there's 5 of them, and they all are going down at like a 20-degree angle towards the hole.
Oh, to flood it in case anyone tries to find the treasure.
That's what they think.
Wow.
But
Jeez.
it's like incredibly elaborate. Like, how do you even build a 4-foot tunnel when you're like the size of a human?
Yeah,
You
and
can't stand-
also just don't bury your treasure. Just keep it. Why? I don't understand.
Yeah.
How are they ever going to get it back out? And why?
Yeah, what is the reason?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess so no one steals it, but like you're a pirate. Who's going to take
Other
it from you?
pirates? Maybe it's so we could talk about it today. on
Yeah,
this
but I mean, like,
podcast.
what's the point of putting it somewhere so hard to get back out?
Yeah. It's befuddling, right?
Yeah.
It is.
So then on a dark and stormy day, a storm comes and blows away the dam that they built, and so the cove floods back. But they suspect that these 5-finger tunnel like coverage, they suspect that the 5 tunnels converge and go straight to the pit as
Can
like
they
one.
just collapse the tunnels?
People will try that later on.
Okay.
These tunnels, again, slope at a 20-degree angle, and they'd be going 110 feet deep. So that alone is crazy. And they're 500 feet from the money pit. So this is like crazy engineering. And when they were building their dam in the modern times, they found remnants of an earlier dam. So they think like we're not the only ones that built this. And maybe when they were building the tunnels, they had
they
built their
dammed
own
it
dam.
Probably, yeah.
So they're like, okay, we weren't the first to do this. And so they suspect that these 5 tunnels lead to the money pit, and and so they trace and they find the place where the tunnels converge. So like you said, Kat, they dam it up and they go back to the main pit, but it's still full of water, like only dropped like by a foot. So they're like, oh shit, there must be another tunnel in addition to this one.
Frustrating.
So what do? They quit. They run out of money and they dissolve.
No, that's not what I expected.
Yeah. So this theory kind of purports that the wooden planks with the putty were like almost like a hydraulic seal, as if you had a straw and you put your thumb on it and put it like in the bathtub. And then if you remove your thumb, which is the waterproof planks, water just like shoots back up.
Oh, yeah.
So they suspect that maybe it was intended that as you dug down, it would flood to keep you out, which is kind of creepy. It's a little
They
creepy
nailed it.
detail. Yeah, they nailed it.
Good job.
So now company number 3 is formed in 1861 called the Oak Island Association. So they get a steam boiler pump to get the water out. So we're getting new technology. But a guy accidentally gets burned to death by the steam boiler, and that
Sorry,
company has to immediately fold.
How?
No, I feel like that's when you double down. You're like, this guy gave his
Yeah.
life for this treasure.
He made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
We're going to see this shit through.
It's what he would have wanted.
Yes.
We weren't paying him minimum wage. He wanted to be here.
He had nothing better to do, not hang out with his wife or his kids or his grandchildren or
They're losers. He wanted to be where the money pit is.
I want to be where the money pit is.
We're a musical
I want
bunch
to
tonight.
see him flooding.
I saw this TikTok where this girl was like watching The Little Mermaid as a grown up, and it shows Triton, and his like pecs are all like hard, and he's like his beard is flowing, and she's like, oh. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Triton daddy.
My college echoed, we were the Tritons. Our
But were
mascot
you
looked
Triton
like that.
daddies?
They should change it, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I was a Viking for 1 year, so ours kind of go together.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, look at you guys. I was a bear cat.
Oh, I like the combo. It's bear is not that original, but bear cat is.
Well, it's a real animal, so.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah. I thought it was one of those hybrids like a centaur.
You thought our college just made up an animal?
Yeah.
Bear was taken, cat was taken. It's a bear cat.
Bear cat.
I had this joke that only works where she's from, but their local high school didn't have a name for their mascot.
No, ours had one.
Okay, and
We
then
were the Hornets.
a neighboring high school formed and was like, "What should we be?"
Our high school split into two, and they built a second school.
Okay.
And so they're like, "What should we be?" I guess we'll be the Hornets. So they're both the Hornets.
What? They didn't change their mascot when our school split into two.
They should have at least
kept
done,
the
like,
same mascot.
Hornets 2.0 something.
Something. And so then every year it was like the Hornets versus the Hornets.
We're a hornet bunch.
But her town is called Enumclaw. And so I said that they should be the Enumclaw Emu Claws.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, that's terrifying to think about an emu with claws. I
Yeah.
got bit by an emu.
Emus
You got
are
bit?
the most
I have
terrifying
been
animal.
bit by an emu. Yes.
Wow.
It was terrifying. Well, I don't actually remember because I was like 2 years old.
I thought you were going to say because I was too drunk. And I was like, what a day that was.
Just drunk on the emu
No.
farm.
Yeah. Who knows? I could have been. Who knows what they were giving me?
Yeah. I have a slide here of what the tunnel system kind of looked like. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, that helps.
Do you guys want to describe anything that I missed?
It's the dam isn't around the sticking out part. It's just like a semicircle around the beach.
The beach, yeah.
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 But and then there's a drain.
I would
that
say whatever.
clarifies anything.
This is a different diagram
Oh.
of what that looks like.
Oh, I see.
Honestly, from how I envisioned it and this diagram, whatever you're envisioning right now in your head is fine.
Okay, cool.
Unless it's like pertinent to the story
No,
that we
yeah.
understand.
But this stuff kind of can get confusing to picture, so I just wanted to make sure that I was sort of describing it correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you are.
Okay. So a new company forms in 1865 called the Oak Island Contract Company. This is the one that got the stone from the fireplace and brought it to show to investors. They fail. They shut down. And they lost the fucking stone. So then
And they burned that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that was a previous company,
Oh,
but
okay.
these companies are going to start going like this. So then the Oak Island El Dorado Company forms in 1866. Their plan is to build a huge dam and excavate the entire cove. They build one, but the ocean just rips it apart one day and that company folds.
Yeah, how do you dam the ocean?
Apparently not
You
very
don't.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, is it just me or is it bizarre that they're making all of these companies just to excavate this land? Is
There's
that a
probably,
thing they did?
I bet it's just like some rich dudes, and this is their hobby, so they're willing to fund this shit.
I think what you would do is you would basically make it a company so that you could get investors to give you money to
Yeah.
front like whatever tools you
Okay.
needed.
Yeah.
So this company that made the dam that collapsed, they did get one drill core where they pulled up a tiny little ball of parchment paper and they unfolded it, and it had a Roman numeral V and an I, or a W possibly and an I, and it was an old script, and the parchment was tested at Harvard University by specialists, and they confirmed it was old parchment with India ink written on by a quill.
They need
Damn.
to stop drilling into this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're ruining it.
There's a better way. Obviously, they had not found it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
1600s pirates are outsmarting them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
with the
embarrassing.
drills going through, assuming there's trunks in there, they're letting the water in then at that point, right?
Presumably, yeah, damaging
Yeah.
artifacts. So we're 72 years into this project, and nothing is going to happen again for 26 years. So John, one of the original boys, the one who bought the property, he deeds it to his son, and they sell their lots to this one guy named Graves. And we don't know much about Graves, but he used the land for farming. But there were rumors that when he would go to town and go into cities, he would buy things with Spanish gold coins.
What?
And one Spanish gold coin was found in the foundation of his house.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
So this
So
guy,
somehow he got some treasure.
so yeah, we don't know much about this guy, but there are theories that people might have found stuff and just never told anybody.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I
not.
wouldn't tell anyone.
No.
And even if it's not like the piece de resistance, like maybe there's some more treasure just hidden around the island.
Yeah. And one guy goes on to say he's a relative of the first guy, Anthony. He's like a great grandson. He says he remembers his grandma opening a chest and showing him like 25 huge pounds of gold bags.
What?
And said, like, we got this on Oak Island. And he's like, but then my grandpa left and I never saw that stuff again. So, but again, you don't know if these things are true, but there are these rumors that like maybe some of these people found stuff. So kind of interesting.
Yeah.
A new company forms called the Oak Island Treasure Company, and the head of it decides he's going to stop the flood shaft once and for all. So they go back to the money pit and pump it down to where 97 feet are exposed.
Wow.
But one of the workers that's being lifted out once they get it drained, he's getting lifted out by a rope. The pulley breaks and he falls 97 feet to his death.
What?
This really spooked everyone, so they were like away from the job for about a year.
Yeah.
But then they finally convinces people to get back, and they realized they were not even in the original money pit. They were in the wrong hole because there's so many holes at this point.
Why?
Whoa.
Are people just digging all the time?
Yeah, all of these companies come in and dig a 100-foot hole.
I love how this money pit has literally
Become a money pit.
Yeah.
So eventually they discover the flood tunnel and dam it up with dynamite. They blow it up and collapse the flood tunnel. They can see the money pit like bubble and boil a little bit when they did that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a little cool detail. So they send a drill bit down again, and at 150 feet, the drill goes through 7 inches of some kind of cement, and then 5 inches of oak, and then loose metal pieces, and then 5 inches of wood, and then 5 inches of some kind of cement. And then they hit clay, and at 175 feet, they hit solid iron and cannot get through.
Whoa.
So
What?
who knows what the fuck is going on down there?
Iron can be found naturally though
But
in the ground, right?
Yeah. So here's a diagram of what someone suspects this thing could be looking like. But you can see down here at like 212 feet down, there's bedrock. And over here, we've got an iron plate at 170 feet. But this is basically just a concoction of this is a diagram of what could be what they're coring.
Yeah, so we have the first level with the 3 chests, and then down there's another chest, and then cement, and then the iron plate. And then they think there's more chests under that.
Yeah, just with all of the different oak cores they got.
But I thought they couldn't get past that iron plate.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe there's more to come.
Okay.
Start to lose track.
Yeah, no kidding. This story is nuts.
So
Yeah.
this company decides, let's pour money. Let's pour.
Let's damn it with money.
Let's fill it with money. So they pour dye into the money pit and see where the dye seeps out around the island.
Oh,
Smart.
okay. Getting creative.
Yeah. So sure enough,
Just pour the blood of all the people that they killed trying to
See
find
where the
it.
sharks go.
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know what color it was. Let's call it purple. They see purple coming out into the cove, and then purple coming out on the complete other side of the island,
Shit.
Oh my god.
implying that there are more tunnels. So that company folds, and a new company forms.
They see it coming out the other side. They're like, I'm out.
Nope.
Yeah. They're like, I will remember you
In the arms.
So a new company forms, which includes a young future president. Can you guess who?
Roosevelt.
Which one?
Teddy.
Wrong. Let's see, where is he? Can you see which one he is?
Nope. They all look the same.
Can I say that I was proud because I found this picture and thought it was from the Civil War, but I said, that guy looks like FDR. And I looked it up, and it is FDR. That guy right there.
Wow.
Oh, see, that's what I meant
Smart.
to say.
Yeah. I should have stopped you at Roosevelt. I shouldn't have asked.
Said yes.
But yeah. So FDR, he grew up in New York, and apparently there was a lot of lore about this since it was so close. And so he was part of this investment company when he was 27. He visited the island, and this company like dynamited tons of the tunnels to the point where now people were unsure of where the original money pit even was because it was all so blown up. Excuse me. In 1931, a new company forms. You drink every time we form a new company.
I've been drinking.
I
And my
know.
bladder is about to explode.
Do you need to pause?
We'll see how part 2 goes.
How much longer is there?
We can pause because I'm going to have to edit this anyway.
Pause it, girl.
Yeah. Okay, so in 1931, a new company forms and digs a new hole at 130 feet. Excuse me, I'm going to restart. So in 1931, a new company forms, and digs a new hole, and at 130 feet, they find a blade of an anchor stuck into the side of the wall. They find a 250-year-old axe, a miner's pick, and the remnants of an oil lamp with seal oil in it. One guy also found an equilateral triangle made of stones. This was not in one of the tunnels, but it was on one of the like fields beside. And it's shaped basically like this navigational compass thing where you would have sort of, it looks like an ice cream cone shape, and you would twist a angle to point north. And so the way the angle is twisted on this thing, on the triangle, it's pointing directly north towards the pit. So they thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, maybe something to help them find it later.
Yeah, possibly some kind of navigational device towards the money pit. Around this time, one of the drill bit guys from back in the day said he saw, we already talked about the yellow bits of metal. Another guy, we already talked about that. So now people start getting dynamite crazy. In 1935, a new company forms, buys the land, and finds a rock that has a bunch of cool inscriptions on it. And their response is, there must be something under it. So they put dynamite under it and blow it up.
No.
So now all that's left is something that has a Roman numeral 2 and the letters GIN.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Yeah. There's also another stone called the H stone that has a Masonic symbol of H, but H is also a lot of other things, so I don't know if that's Masonic, but it has a circle with a dot and a Christian cross. There it is. Can you describe that one? Ho!
Ho.
Land ho!
Says hose for science. It's a rock, and you can vaguely see an H and then an O with a dot in it, and then some other like rune like figures that are hard to see.
Yeah. It kind of looks janky though.
Yeah.
So in 1936, they find the remains of an old pier that was built out there past the beach. And it's possibly a place where whoever built this would offload and onload stuff, maybe part of the original dam. But they found 15-inch in diameter like timber things in the ground that had Roman numerals carved into the ends and like notches at every 4 feet. So again, kind of strange stuff.
Yeah, this is strange. What does it mean?
What does it mean? An English guy wrote a book about Captain Kidd, and it featured 3 maps in the book. One of the maps features a shape that looks like Oak Island, and it has coordinates written on it. So one of the people that was obsessed with Oak Island read this book and was like, oh my God, that map looks enough like Oak Island. So he goes to Oak Island with the book, gets at the triangle we mentioned, and does the coordinates, and the coordinates take him right to the money pit. So he's like, oh my God, there's something here. But that's kind of all the information that was in that map. So he actually goes to London and finds this author and is like, tell me more about like where you found this map. And the author's being all standoffish and squeamish. And the author is eventually like,
I made it up.
I made it up.
No,
I improv'd it.
God. And
Yeah.
it just happened.
It just was total power of suggestion. Like
Wow.
he projected it all onto that.
What the heck?
But this is the, where's the map? There it is.
Okay.
You can, sort of looks like a jelly bean camel, but not really.
No, not really.
Just looks like land.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can see some of the numbers down here.
You just made it up. Fake it till you make it, babe. Do
Yeah.
your thing.
You really did.
And that guy went all the way to London to find him. How unfortunate.
How do these people have so much time? Oh, I'm just going to go take my map, find the treasure, go to London, find the author.
Start
I want this
multiple
life.
companies.
Yeah, donate to us on Patreon so we can do shit like this.
Yeah. We'll go confront authors about their maps
Can't wait.
for a living.
Make them admit it's fake on camera.
Yeah.
Ruin their life.
It's called Welcome to another episode of Gotcha Maps.
Joan, gotcha.
So another company finds a tunnel that's lined with hemlock. I don't know what hemlock is.
It's a plant.
Okay, cool. And it's 3 feet by 6 feet. Another company does a second dye test, and it showed dye coming off offshore into the bay where the bay was like 15 feet deep. So they think there's possibly like these natural or man-made caverns underneath the entire island, like in the bedrock. 400 years earlier, the beach was like 60 feet further out, and the water was 4 feet shallower, so that could explain why some of these tunnels are where they are, because since they've been built, water has risen and it makes them seem more inaccessible.
But only by 4 feet. You said the water was 4 feet higher.
Yeah, but 4 feet is a pretty big rise at high tide. If you think about this island, is I don't know how many feet above sea level, but like 4 feet would like cover all of Florida, right? 10 feet.
What?
Florida is almost at sea level, so a sea level rise of 4 feet would almost put Florida
so
underwater.
It would be significant.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So in 1938, FDR was supposed to come back to the island because he was really into this treasure, but he had to cancel it for World War II.
Oh, no.
I hate that.
I hate that for you.
At this point, there are over 100 tunnels drilled into the island. 1955, a Texas oil drilling engineer shows up and finds a 40-foot tall cavern underground. In 1965, a guy moves his whole family there, and he's working a pump. And he's sitting on the edge working the pump, and he just passes out and falls like 80 feet into the water. There's 4 feet of water at the bottom.
God, I'd be so pissed if I was his wife.
Oh, me too. I'd be pissed the moment they made me move to an island in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going with him.
No, that's
So-
a business trip.
His son sees him fall in and was like, "Oh no," and jumps in to save him. Doesn't realize the reason he passed out is because there's poisonous methane gas coming up out of the hole.
Oh my
Because
God.
it's so deep.
Because there's vegetation growing in there now that is emitting a gas.
What?
And so it caused him to pass
my
out.
God.
So he falls in, drowns. The son falls in, drowns. Another guy runs up, sees what's happening, jumps in, passes out, drowns. Another guy runs up, sees
Stop
what's happening.
running. You are not a lemming.
So on that day, 5 people died from trying to save each other.
I shouldn't be
Imagine
laughing. This
being
is
like an alien watching this and just people are running into the hole dying and you're like, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Stop.
This is the daughter of that guy holding a rock she found on the island. This is her as an adult. And the rock says something really interesting. It says 1704. It's not interesting at all.
Well, that is.
Is that the year
did
that
she
the island was found?
find it, or
She did
where's-
find it on the island.
and she didn't inscribe it with 1704.
No, like whoever was on the island did that, assumingly. But
And on the back, there's a bunch of penises.
yeah, yeah, Dick Butt is on the back. So then a California oil guy comes in and brings a massive crane like that. And to get the crane on the island, he builds a bridge over to the island. So now there is a road, there's a land bridge now that links the island to the mainland.
In California.
Yes. It goes
That's
around.
where you said he's from, right? California.
Yeah. California oil guy built a bridge to California.
From Nova Scotia.
It's a long bridge.
Goes around South America.
You guys get it. You can picture it. You don't need to see a map.
Yeah.
But if you did, I know a guy.
Yeah.
So he dynamites the cool triangle of rocks aforementioned. He also, there were people that found rocks that had drill holes in them as if you were supposed to put something in and look through like a survey surveyor would. He blew those up. He bulldozes all over the place. He bulldozes the entire beach and exposes like an 8-foot square shaft, but then he gives up. A new millionaire shows up and gets a geology company to drill 65-inch holes all over the island. I think I've got some of those. Those are like...
What are those?
These are iron casks that they had in the 70s that they started putting in the holes to keep them from collapsing.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, so the new millionaire shows up and he's doing all of these boring holes, boring, not, yeah. And they end up finding fine china, cement, oak, charcoal, and around 212 feet down, carbon dating shows the wood is from 1575, plus or minus 85 years, so
Wow.
the stuff is old. They re-excavate the Smith Cove tunnel, and underneath the original flood tunnel, they find a pair of scissors that
Whoa,
are
dang.
Spanish
Primitive.
design from the mid-1600s. And I thought those looked pretty cool.
They're
do look
beautiful.
cool.
But so there's just this weird thing of Spanish, European stuff not quite lining up. It's very unclear.
But hasn't most of the stuff they found, hasn't it been Spanish?
Yeah, but like the...
The coins. What
a
about
lot
the
of
China?
Roman numerals. Did the Spanish use Roman numerals? I suppose so.
Probably.
They were part of Rome, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I feel like when I think pirates, I usually think Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stole all the Spanish coin,
Oh.
but like Blackbeard
Yeah, but
and Captain
remember
Kidd
they were
were
English?
yeah.
Yeah.
And there was that the female pirate that you taught a lesson on.
She
Wasn't she
was
Asian or
Yeah, she was. I don't remember the story well enough, but yeah. I mean, there's pirates all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 1970, they built another dam and they excavated the cove and they found piles of stone with human remain ashes in them. And allegedly these were genetically tested and they had Middle Eastern and European DNA. Which there's a lot of people that suspect there's like Knights Templar stuff going on.
They need to load that DNA into 23andMe.
Yeah, they do.
Can you get
And
DNA
see.
from ashes?
I think there were bone fragments too. I don't know if you can.
I don't think you can.
This was something I saw in a YouTube video that I was like, I need to find that, and I couldn't find it anywhere else.
Okay.
So, not trusted source alert, not trusted source alert. The one
A
company,
YouTube video.
yeah,
Where I get all my information for every facet of my
The
life.
same guy who wrote that book in London with the map.
yeah, exactly. That's what this podcast is. We are the map guys. Someone shows up and is like, Alec, can you show me your sources? And I'm like, all fidgety. I'm like, I made it up.
I made it all up.
I saw it on a YouTube video.
Is Haley even real? Haley Wexler.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Patreon who recommended this is not
Yeah.
real.
Excuse me, bitch.
So the company that bored the 65 holes, they named them like Borehole 1, Borehole 2, and Borehole 10X like was the hot spot where they found a bunch of stuff. And this is the 70s, so they're like, let's get a camera. So excuse me, John Wayne, the famous actor, he like invested into this, and they got camera gear and they like lowered it down into the thing, and it just ruined the camera gear. So then they tried it again. And when they put the camera gear in, this is the 70s, it's not great. They had like a monitor, like black and white, and the guy watching the monitor said he saw a severed hand float
What?
across the screen.
No, he
Because they were
didn't.
boring into this cavern. They went through a cavern, and so then it was just water in this cavern. And he said he saw what he thought was a severed hand float by. And so he brings a bunch of people to the monitor, and they all said they could see what could be a hand, and then 3 chests, one of which had a handle, and then pickaxes, and then a body slumped over.
No
What?
fucking way.
How would a body still be not
It
just
wouldn't.
bones?
They said that they talked to some specialist that said the salt water could have pickled them.
Oh, yum.
Ooh, I like it.
Why don't they just
Really?
send a scuba diver down there?
I think it's too dangerous.
Oh.
But as we get into modern times, stuff starts to feel more bullshitty.
Okay.
This is Enter the History Channel.
Oh, good.
I used to think they were so legit, like a credible
Because
source.
they kind of used to be when we were really little, and then
and then things
it all
took
went
a turn.
downhill.
Starting with, or no, that was Animal Planet with the mermaid.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone just Yeah.
Yeah, they cared more about the views.
They
than
did.
the history.
I
Yeah.
still use history.com though a lot for night
constantly.
classy. Yeah.
There are plenty of reliable articles
Hopefully.
on history.com, hopefully.
But one thing I thought was interesting before we leave like the boring holes and stuff, if you're looking at YouTube, I basically have a picture of a big bulldozer with like a huge contraption making a tunnel. I was just thinking, imagine all of this, these billions of dollars that have been put into this is all because one boy started digging in a depression
Yeah.
230 years before, you know?
That's wild. Did anyone have like an inkling that treasure could have been there before he started digging? Like, were there rumors?
Not that I heard of, no.
Because I feel like in order for the pirates to have done this, like someone would have seen this massive project, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
I mean, that's when I have no idea.
Yeah.
And that would have been
I guess it would have been like 100 years or more before. But they
Yeah.
were talking about the Knights Templar coming over possibly in the 1300s. I'll get into some theories here at the end. But the History Channel made a show about it, and they found some interesting stuff that there's basically 5 boulders or 6 boulders, is that? Yeah, 6
I
boulders.
feel like I watched this as a kid when it came out. When did this
Probably.
episode come out? Because that looks
Honestly,
really
I don't
familiar.
know. But typical History Channel, they found basically 6 boulders, and they're like, ooh, it's shaped like a cross, and the boulder in the middle is a face. But to me, it's like quite the
It's
stretch.
just a rock.
Yeah.
It's just a rock. Yeah. So I have in here that they found some artifacts like a Spanish coin, but most of the 6 seasons was just all built up with no payoff. They basically had these 2 rich guys who were just excavating, and History Channel's like, can we film you guys?
Yeah.
And they found little things, but it was all fluff.
Typical History Channel.
All build up, no payoff, just like this lesson.
No, are you serious? They never find it?
Nothing's been found.
What?
But
no fucking way.
Get out of here.
last time we did a treasure hunt episode, the treasure was discovered the next day. If you want to listen to that special Patreon episode, we released both episodes on the feed. It's the episode before this. We did a whole episode on a treasure that hadn't been found for 7 years, and the day we did the episode was the day it was found. It was found as we were recording it.
Proof for the main character in the simulation.
Main character energy.
Yeah. So there's some theories. Do we have anything else here? Let's see in terms of slides. This was on Reddit of what the island's going to look like at the end of the History Channel show, which is basically like an entire blasted mine shaft where the entire island has been eliminated.
Surrounded by ocean.
Yeah.
That's
Just a bowl.
funny. It's the opposite of an island.
Yeah. And this shows how much was destroyed just between 1965. You can see there's a lot of forest. And then 1973, just a few years later, it's all blasted out. And this is what it currently looks like.
It's just been turned into a shit show.
Yeah, it's essentially a construction site now.
Yeah.
That's
And there's like,
unfortunate.
the water is so close to the surface. Like there's a hole and the water looks like it's 10 or 15 feet down.
Yeah.
Like it is, that baby's full of water.
Yeah, they made a bunch of lakes, little ponds.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Pond.
And so some of the theories we'll close with are that it was an ancient mining operation, but people have been mining for thousands and thousands of years, and it's very rare to mine straight down. It's just not conducive to how you would get stuff in and out and work. So it would be a very weird design to have like flood tunnels towards your mine shafts. There's also a theory that it was an ancient ship repair yard. Again, we're not really sure what ancient means here, if we're talking Spanish or English or what or when. But the idea was that the tide would come in, you would dock this thing in this sort of man-made beach, and then the tide would go out and the boat would come down on the beach and roll over, and you could repair it and scrape barnacles and then get a bunch of tools to lift it back up and float it back out to sea. And that could explain why there were a bunch of tunnels that they needed to like get water in and get water out. Again, it seems like a very elaborate engineering thing when there's a dockyard very nearby in like Boston and New York. Doesn't make much sense.
If it was the pirates, then they don't want to go to the main
That's true.
docking
Yeah.
yards, right?
Some geologists in the 90s did dye tests and said the tunnels could be totally explained by just natural water patterns, and that the shafts were just natural sinkholes, and that basically every few years there's storms that completely blow down the forest, and so all the trees fall down, and then a sinkhole sinks, and then all the trees get blown down, and then a sinkhole sinks.
No.
Again.
For them to be like perfectly
Yeah.
aligned, and that putty that was
And
in there.
coconut husks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way.
I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt to the people that are listening. Like, well, it could be because there are
Sure.
wet
There's
blankets.
theories, yeah.
Yeah. So
You're saying wet blankets.
yeah.
Yeah, you have no right to call another a wet blanket.
You should say us wet
Yeah.
blankets.
Yeah. And these wet blankets said that it could be explained that wildfires charred the remains, and that was what they saw down there as charcoal.
No, and trees don't like regenerate how?
And for it to be every 10 feet.
Yeah,
The
that's
layers
too
of
fast.
the timber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And they carbon dated like one of the timber trees, and it was for the year 3000. It was in the future.
What?
And they were like, what the fuck? But then they realized it had some kind of tar agent for waterproofing on it, and the tar had uranium in it that messed up the carbon dating system and made it look like it was in the future. But how freaky would that be if you were testing
a
it?
terrifying day. And
Yeah.
then they had to like go home and go to sleep feeling like time isn't real.
Yeah.
They immediately told the press, time
Yeah.
travel is real.
Yeah.
That would make all of this make sense and tied up with a nice bow if I could be like, the three lights was a time machine and there was future travel involved
Yeah,
here.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
That's how we
crazy.
need to do it.
Yeah.
Let's pull a History Channel and kind of stretch these facts. When we
Connect
come back,
'em.
you'll find out what was not in the past or the present. You guessed it, the future. We'll be right back. Okay, so then the theories get really crazy. And if you watch YouTube videos, this is the stuff they show, but it's really not based in any reality. There's theories that Mary Antoinette's jewelry is buried at the bottom of the pit. Some claim that Shakespearean manuscripts are buried on the island. Others say that the Knights Templar hid treasures in the 1300s, like the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant, of course. But yeah, we have no idea. So
Oh my God.
So yeah, say whatever you want is down there. It's a mountain of mozzarella sticks and Pinot Noir out of a box.
Oh my God. Are we hungry or what?
I'm
that
so
sounds
fucking
delicious.
hungry.
Mozzarella sticks might as well be gold. As far as I'm concerned, it's just cheap gold.
Yeah, the breadcrumbs look gold and brown.
It warms my heart like money does.
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to list my sources real quick. So my sources are Astonishing Legends podcasts, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you guys are interested in this, there's about 10 hours that they do.
And Alec listened to all of it.
I listened to all of it
Damn.
on like 3 times speed. I was like a savant in taking all of this information. Those guys are pros. So if you really want the real stuff, go to Astonishing Legends. I can't recommend them enough. I also used the Wikipedia for the Oak Island Mystery, oakislandmystery.com. Canada's Mystery Hole, Oak Island Money Pit by Ginger Pale on YouTube. Thank you, Haley Patreon, for sending me that. Patreon is her last name. And our lovely listener, Haley Wexler May, who recommended this topic and was nice enough to choose me to teach it.
Yes, thank you, Haley, and
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Haley.
Alec.
Yeah,
for
you
an
nailed
amazing
it.
lesson.
Thank
Job.
you.
So
my
thorough,
gosh.
so smart.
Big brain
Good job.
energy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I hope I did you justice, Haley. Not you.
You're talking to me. I'm like,
It's very
you-
confusing.
You
You're like,
did.
Alec, you're looking me in the eyes when you say that.
Please stop looking at me.
All right. Well, we will be right back.
Or should we just plow through?
Let's plow through.
I don't know if I have an ad recording in me tonight. I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's go.
I'll plug one in.
Sweet. All right.
Hey, we'll
let's
be
do
right
it.
back.
Okay. And we're back. We breathalyzed, Haley and I did, and I blew a .013.
I blew .012.
So I go first, and I'm so excited about this mini lesson. The opportunity to do a mini lesson was so exciting because I have so many things that aren't long enough for a full lesson, and I got to pick one, and I'm excited. And since Alec is here and he loves cryptids, I decided to do a cryptid.
Ayo.
Have you heard of...
Can we pause real quick? It's doing its thing again.
Okay.
Cavern underground.
Thank God.
In 1965.
I was panicking when we were hearing nothing. Jesus. Gee.
Because I saw the backup run out of memory and I was like, dun 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 dun. Sorry, Kat.
Oh, don't worry about it.
A guy moves his whole family there and he's working a pump. And he's working a pump. Oh, I'm so excited about a cryptid.
Me too.
Okay, we're back.
Okay. Have you heard of the Kappa?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, good. So Kappa, meaning river child, also called Kawako or Kawataro, meaning river boy, are legendary folk religious creatures in Japan. They're like a mix of amphibians and people. So they're kind of like green humanoids. They have webbed hands, webbed feet. Sometimes they have a turtle-like shell on their back. And they're a little smaller than people. They're described as kind of the size of a child, but they're super strong. They're stronger than a fully grown human. They can sometimes be smooth or sometimes they're scaly. And one of the fun things about them is they have 3 anuses, so they can fart a lot. They like to fart.
Okay.
It's not that kind of show.
It is today. And on their heads, they have a little indentation called a sarah. And
a little soft spot.
A little soft spot, yes.
A little money pit.
They were like, their mom pushed too hard on their head when they were a baby, and it never fully,
They're going to be a psychopath.
Yeah.
Murderer.
Traumatic brain injury. They are psycho. We'll get to it. And this holds a little, like it holds water in this indentation on their head, and this is their power. So it's really important that they like keep water in this sarah.
How do they keep water in it?
Well, typically they live in water, so that
Okay.
makes it easy. They usually are in streams and rivers. Sometimes they're also in lakes, so they're kind of like a water fae, a water spirit. But when they go on land, they need to make sure that they have water in their sarah in order to be okay, because if they accidentally spill it, they can't move.
Wait, it can spill? It's like an open...
It's open. It's like a bowl.
Okay.
And it has water. And if they spill, then they're frozen.
I was picturing like a pouch on the top of their head.
No, it's a
cup.
A cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's like indented into their head. It doesn't sit on top.
Yes.
I'm imagining them walking like America's Next Top Model, like not moving.
Like when you, like in TV shows where you have to balance books on your head to walk like a lady. They're just like sashaying away. So it's really important. And kappas are typically believed to be kind of like mischievous troublemakers. That's sort of their reputation. Like, I don't think they're fully evil or fully good, but they definitely do like bad shit. Starting with on the low end of the scale, like farting loudly when people walk by, or looking up women's kimonos when they walk by. They can also drown people and animals, especially horses. So there's a lot of legends about them drowning horses. And probably the main thing they do is drown people. Like a lot of drownings are blamed on the Kappa.
They're not just like menaces. They're psycho.
they are menaces. Like,
I mean, when I think of menace, I think of Dennis the Menace.
oh, like
the
mischievous.
Yeah, not like
It's a little confusing
heinous crimes.
because their reputation is like mischievous, kind of like elves, but they kill people. So I'm like, but I think like the killing is sort of like rare, like maybe because around Japan, they're called different things. And I think different regions have their own stories about these. So I think there's a lot, it varies a lot. So this is just like the range of things that they can do. They might also kidnap children and sexually assault women. So there's stories about all of these things.
Is this why like Bowser and all the Mario villains are like turtles?
Maybe, but the what are the good turtles called? Or I
They're
guess
called Koopa Troopas.
Koopa Troopas, yeah.
Koopa's kind of close to Kappa.
Koopa
Kappa.
and they are kind of bad. They kill you.
Yeah, they're the ones that like walk around.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Just connecting dots.
Yeah, you're
all the
drawing
time.
Connections. So
I did get that recommended as a lesson topic. The
Mario?
like start of Mario. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
Tommy
would be
said
a
it
good
was
one.
a very interesting story
It
about how the
probably
guy started it.
is.
Yeah,
sounds fun. You should do it.
you should do it.
No, you should.
No, you should.
Okay, guys,
then
I'll do it next week.
Yeah. What if like next week you come to the table with like research done and we're like, Alec, that was one time.
I'm like, here we go, guys.
I'm Alec. I'm Haley.
And then there's just like a pregnant pause after I say that, and you can hear us like arguing amongst it.
the music's still going for the intro.
I thought, yeah, it's like in the background. It's like, this must have been a miscommunication.
I'm sorry. Don't cry, Alec. Don't cry.
But guys, I already prepared this.
Just let one of us read it.
Then you just hear like me like quietly sobbing throughout y'all's lessons.
You're just sniffling into the mic.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
It's okay. So these guys, like I said, are often blamed for drowning. So they're kind of like a cautionary tale that you might tell kids, like, oh, don't get too close to the river because a Kappa might get you.
And definitely don't eat for 60 minutes before you get into the river either.
What is that about?
I don't know.
So dumb.
I feel like it's low-key diet culture and just a different version of itself.
Like, you don't want to say, like, oh, you might blow in your bikini. Like, just don't eat 30. Like,
you'll literally die if you eat.
So weird. By the way, like, you can eat before you swim.
Yeah.
That's a myth.
You can eat before you swim, after you swim. You can do what you want.
All you want.
When you need to eat.
Eat a Subway sandwich. That is the best pool food or beach food.
Yes, with some sun chips.
Yes.
Suck my ass,
some
Alec.
grapes.
I'm going
So
Publix
good.
sub.
Well, Publix sub is better, but we're not privileged to have Publix in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. I inadvertently got us
Memphis.
into grocery stores, and I apologize.
Let's see, where was I? So the reason they usually kill people, I mean, sometimes they just do it for fun, but they do like to eat people sometimes. They drink their blood and eat their liver, but what they really want is the victim's shirikodama. Have you heard of this?
No.
A shirikodama is like a mythical organ that holds your soul. It's like a ball that has your soul. It's like your soul's essence. It's your Horcrux. And it's near your butthole. I think it's like deep, it's like in your core, I think.
Yeah.
But to get it, the Kappa has to rip out your intestines through your anus and steal it. And that's how they get their power.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They're intense.
They're sadistic.
They're crazy. They're crazy. So obviously no one wants anything like this to happen to them. All of these things are bad. So there's ways to prevent an attack. And that's by appeasing the Kappa, by feeding them their favorite food. which is not butthole.
I was so prepared for you to say that it was ass.
No, it's not ass.
You just stick your cute little booty patootie out your window every night before you go to bed. Let the Kappa eat your ass, and then you go to sleep.
You just have like a fetish for eating ass. Oh my God. Ew. No.
It's like, it's not the ass, guys. It's the taint.
It's the gooch for me.
Tomato, tainto, guchado.
I wish we were still naming our episodes weird things and we could call it Tainto, Cucho, Cuchado, or whatever you just said. No. Do you want to know their favorite food?
Yeah.
Goldfish.
No, it's cucumbers.
Aw.
Cucumbers that have been shoved up your asshole. And then, no, just kidding. Just regular cucumbers.
With a special sauce.
Oh my God.
sauce. A gravy, if you will.
A marinade.
Man, really just going down that wormhole.
Going in.
Going down the money pit.
So there's festivals in Japan where offerings of cucumbers might be made to the Kappa. There's one festival in Enko where a ritual is performed to protect children from drowning. So what they'll do is basically give offerings to the Kappa. Irises are woven into tiny shrines and placed along the river for the Kappa to hang out in, and people celebrate with fireworks, sake, and pickled cucumbers. So it's kind of, I think, now
nice.
a fun thing, like a festival you can have for this creature. Sounds really nice. I would like some sake, pickled cucumbers, and fireworks. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 100%. Chilling out by the river, getting my ass eat.
Yeah, what if part of the festival was like squatting down over the river and letting them eat your ass? This is probably highly offensive. I'm sorry. In Edo, there used to be, the source said used to be, so I don't know if people still do this, but a tradition where you would write the names of your family members on cucumbers and then send them down the river to protect them from the Kappas.
They're like, no. We are not enrolling our children in swimming class. We will not hear of it. We will be sending cucumbers down the river.
It is the way.
What if they wrote they etched Nana into it and then they had to shove it up their ass?
Yeah.
I need to honor my ancestors.
Okay, this is getting offensive, I feel like. Hopefully no one is hurt by this. So you can also, if a Kappa is chasing you, you can throw a cucumber at them and they'll be distracted and go eat the cucumber. That's how much they like them.
Oh.
And if appeasing the Kappa doesn't work, they can be defeated in other ways. So Kappas are obsessed with politeness, which I find ironic since they're known for farting and sexually harassing people. But apparently they're really polite.
Hypocritical narcissists.
They like the show, the theatrics of being polite, I guess.
Yeah. I like the idea that we can offend the culture around an animal that has 3 buttholes because it likes to fart a lot.
I don't know.
It's well, let's not offend them.
Well, some of the stuff I was reading is saying these are a folk religious creature, so I don't know how seriously they're taken. I don't have a ton of context for that.
Fair.
So I don't know.
I was going to ask you, did you find anything that felt like someone has actually seen one of these? Or did it feel very much like...
I think it's kind of like leprechauns kind of a thing, a mythical creature in your traditional legends.
Yeah.
That you might, leave little offerings for. I don't think anyone today still really thinks they're real, but there probably are people somewhere that do.
Okay.
Yeah, they clearly have a hold.
Yes, they have a hold on society.
Someone has an anal fixation over there that really won't let this thing die.
It really manifested in a weird way. So, like I said, they're super polite. So if you bow to one, they have to bow back. So you could do a really deep bow. They'll bow too and spill the water from their sirah, rendering them motionless. And then you can either get away, or according to legend, if you refill their water, the Kappa will have to serve you for eternity.
Wow, that's a pretty big commitment.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
it's a
kind of
long
like getting a
time.
pet almost.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know if I'd want one following me
I don't
around.
think I would. Yeah, it's like your neighbor comes to you and you're like, dude, your freaking Kappa was doing some crazy shit to my garden last night. Can you please get
Old
it under
Greg
control?
is looking at me funny. I don't like it.
I'm old Greg.
Yeah, you're like on a Zoom meeting and you're like, I just gotta say, like, I'm not the one farting. Like, I have a Kappa who helps me out and he's sitting beside me, and that's where that's coming from.
My unpaid intern.
Yeah, if you're hearing that, it's the Kappa.
Alec, you've seen old Greg, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I just really need to make
Well,
sure
you
everyone.
hadn't seen Charlie the Unicorn, so that was like the same era as Old Greg.
Yes.
That was like peak YouTube shoes. I was really into Fred.
And there was that. Oh yeah, Fred was huge, and that Harry Potter.
Yes, the
Ugh.
Potter puppets.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Jenna
Good
Marbles.
times. Love Jenna
Different
Marbles.
time, man.
It
Different
was
time.
much simpler.
Yeah, it was like you just filmed yourself being silly and put it on YouTube and got 1 million views.
Yeah.
I loved all of those things you guys said.
Yeah.
You were what, in college?
I was a senior in high school when that stuff was happening.
I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
That's our show, folks.
Goodbye. Bye. Alex, like, and my birthday is in this week.
His 51st birthday.
He's over the hill.
Yeah, everybody come to my 23rd birthday. We're doing it live on Night Classy. I'm just
Wow.
clearly delusional.
That's what we did for mine.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were making fun of me. That was my 23rd birthday.
No,
that
I was
we
making
did
fun
a
of the
night-
cocktail hour
Yeah.
that's coming up for my
Oh,
birthday that I
yes.
lie and say it's my 23rd.
Yeah. You could play a teenager on Broadway.
Yeah.
You get me far enough away from the audience, it can pass.
Makeup does wonders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put the right TikTok filter on you.
Yeah.
You'll
You're agile.
de-age 10 years.
Yeah.
All right. So Kappas also have easily detachable arms.
Oh.
So you can pull one of its arms off and it wants to get its arm back. So it might bargain with you and offer to perform tasks or share its secrets.
Oh, okay. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. They also love to sumo wrestle. Like notoriously in all the sources, it's like they love cucumbers and sumo wrestling.
This is so silly.
I know. So you can challenge them to a wrestling match and they'll usually agree because they love to wrestle. And you shouldn't do this in the water because they're really strong. But if you're on land, you can take this opportunity to spill their Syrah and then they can't move. Kappas also are said to have an aversion to iron, sesame, and ginger, so you can try to repel them with one of those. But you might not want to because Kappas aren't entirely bad. If you win their favor, usually by giving them cucumbers, they can be really helpful. They're known to help farmers irrigate their land, and they might bring you fish. And getting a fish from a Kappa is considered like a really good sign. Like it's a mark of good fortune. They're super knowledgeable in medicine, and according to legend, humans learned how to set bones from the Kappa. Lastly, if a Kappa likes you, it might actually save you from drowning, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or it might kill you.
Or it
by
might kill
drowning
you by drowning. It's a flip of the coin.
Depends on the day.
So, like we've been saying, Kappas are part of Japanese folk religion, and people do believe in them and leave them offerings. Icons of them are widely recognized in Japan, and a lot of times they'll be depicted on warning signs near bodies of water because they they symbolize drowning. They're like, so like if you see, I was looking at some pictures of these, and it's like a person like flailing in the water, and there's like a Kappa swimming around them, so it shows, you know, that they're drowning.
Wow.
Yeah. And let's see.
I'm trying to think of what the thing would be for us. Maybe like
Bigfoot?
a devil symbol with the horns.
Yeah, or like you'll see like a whirlpool or sharks depicted
Yeah.
sometimes in our signs like that.
Yeah. I was going to say Bigfoot around wooded areas.
Yeah,
but
like keep out of the woods. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
like those stickers that say keep out of the woods and then have like Bigfoot on them. It's a
Yeah.
lot like that. And people also might put cute little statues of them in their yard or like around their home, a lot like garden gnomes. Like, I think that's kind of what they are. Like, it's like a cute, like, mythical creature.
How big are they?
They're the size of a child.
Okay.
Oh, the garden gnomes? Or
just
the
Kappas.
statues? Kappas are about the size of a child, but in the pictures, these look about the size of garden gnomes. Usually they're made of like stone that people set in their garden. But if we're to actually try to explain the existence of these creatures non-spiritually, or if we're assuming they're not an actual cryptid, they could be giant salamanders. So giant salamanders do live in Japanese streams, and they're rumored to be able to grow up to 8 feet.
Oh my God.
So it's possible maybe a long time ago people saw these, and then these legends of the Kappa started being created about giant salamanders.
You know what I saw that is kind of like this, but not really, is one of the theories about what they think people were seeing when they saw like a Loch Ness monster head or tail is it's a whale dick.
What?
Whales often engage in
in the lake?
No, I mean in the ocean.
The Loch Ness monster?
Yeah, like the Loch Ness monster, like that.
Oh, like a sea monster.
Yeah,
the
like
Loch
a
Ness
sea monster.
Okay.
Yes, sea monster. But whale dick. So they often engage in like threesomes or foursomes.
And whale dicks are terrifying looking.
They're
terrifying.
pointy. They're pointy. And so when the female is engaged with another male, the guy will like flop his penis outside of the water, and it looks like a head of like a serpent type deal.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's a good theory. I could see it.
I could see it too. I saw some pictures. It was a intriguing article.
Haley's just looking at whale dicks in her spare time.
Not
We look
just
on her
whale dicks.
search history. It just says whale dick.
It's like the Jaws theme, but instead of the dorsal fin, it's like dun.
That's what it looks like. Sorry I just had to say it.
No, I loved that. There's also theories it could be a prehistoric amphibian called a temnospondyle, or it could be a sea turtle, or possibly an undiscovered species of sea turtle. Or, of course, kappas can be seen as a metaphor of water, which can be both helpful and dangerous and unpredictable all at the same time. That was my lesson on what might be the best cryptid, I think.
Yeah, I'm into it.
It's pretty fun, the Kappa. And my sources are the Kappa Wikipedia page, cryptids with a d.fandom.com/wiki/Kappa, and an article on japan-guide.com called Yokai and Where to Find Them, Kappa by Matt Evans.
Thank you
that was my
for
lesson.
that. A lot of new cryptid to the list. There were no creepy details in there, though. So
No, they're not very. I mean, they do creepy things.
yeah,
I think the whole
thing
essence is creepy. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that means that it is my turn. So we are going to start this learning journey with some fun facts / stories that are all related to today's topic. Okay.
Okay.
First fun fact. Kind of fun. Not really. In 2014, there were 2 tragic incidents. I'm sorry. 2 tragic incidents involving Malaysian air flights. These other ones are interesting and kind of fun, I swear.
I'm having so much fun already.
Okay, so the first plane was shot down.
I almost did a spit take.
I need to.
The first plane was shot down. Oh my God.
It's basically midnight. We're delirious.
I need to reset. Oh my God. Okay.
I can tie all this joyful stuff together. The planes were shot down.
Okay, we're getting to it. The first plane was shot down over Ukraine, and the second disappeared.
I'm sorry, I keep messing you up.
I'm actually crying. That was a terrible setup for this opening. I can't deal with this right now. Okay, the second plane disappeared somewhere over the Indian Ocean. resulting in one of the greatest aviation mysteries of our time. I'm like getting all hot. Dutch cyclist Martin de Jong was supposed to be a passenger on both flights, but he never made it on either of them because he changed his tickets at the last minute when he was notified of cheaper options. Separate instance. I'm actually crying, guys. This is insane. That was a lot.
Yeah, we're like pulling ourselves back together.
Second instance. Different story, unrelated to that first thing. Then there was this time that 10-year-old Laura Buxton released a red balloon in her front lawn only for another 10-year-old named Laura Buxton to find it 140 miles away. The original Laura wrote on the balloon, "Please return to Laura Buxton," along with her address, and she let it go. So you can imagine how perplexed Laura and her family was when they find this balloon that says, "Please return to this person with the same name." So they reached out, they called them up, they all laughed about the chances of such a thing happening. The girls and their families even decided to meet up, and they realized that they had a lot more in common than just their names. The girls looked and dressed alike. They both had 3-year-old chocolate labs. They both had a gray rabbit. They both had a guinea pig, and they had both decided to bring their guinea pigs to this meetup unplanned.
What the fuck? This is proof the world isn't real.
I know, right?
Nothing is real.
I have one last little story. As a teenager, French poet Amélie Deschamps met a strange Englishman named Mr. de Fortgabou, who introduced him to a strange English dish, which was almost never seen in France at the time. It was plum pudding.
Ew.
Yeah. Emily, he didn't order plum pudding often, but when he did, for the rest of his life, he saw Mr. de Fortgabou every time. The first time he ordered it after their initial introduction in that strange cafe was 10 years later at a restaurant in France. When he was walking past the restaurant, he saw that they were advertising plum pudding, which was still so rare. And when he ordered it, the waiter was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We just sold the last one for today's stock to that guy over there." And it was the strange Englishman. Another time, again, almost like 10 years later, Amelie is at a party and they start serving plum pudding. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Hey, this party must be for that weird guy that, I told you about talking to his friends or whatever, Mr. de Fortgabou." And then the next moment, he walks through the door at this party. And Amelie's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so weird." So it's just something that happened every time you had plum pudding.
What would you do if you had something like that occur? Would you be scared?
I think I'd start testing it and just eating plum pudding all the time.
Yeah. Because that would sort of freak me out.
Yeah.
It would freak me out too.
Yeah.
That guy, he realized he had accidentally arrived at the wrong apartment. He was in fact on his way to a different party completely, but had just walked into the wrong place.
We are meant to be in each other's life. Like, come hang out
Let's
with
be
me.
friends.
Yeah.
Yes. And it feels like magic when experiencing coincidences, and we place a lot of importance on them. So we're talking about coincidences today.
Nice.
And I thought that it would be fitting since when Alec initially taught his lesson on the treasure that was missing or had not been found for 7 years, and then that day as we were recording he found it, that was a huge coincidence in all of our lives.
That makes sense, you tying it all together.
Thank you.
A little pretty bow on top.
I've been wanting to cover coincidences, but it just didn't seem like a big enough thing. But then when I wanted to do it today, I was like, oh, this actually could be a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and get through what I have quickly. Okay. But a coincidence is defined as a remarkable occurrence of events or circumstances perceived as meaningfully related without apparent causal connection. Some people think those who believe in coincidences and the magic around them simply do not understand probability. I believe in, well, actually, I guess I do and I don't believe in coincidences.
I definitely don't understand probability because I had AP stats first period my senior year of high school and skipped it more times than I went. So
I didn't know as a psychology major you had to take statistics until I was in statistics, and I had to take it. Well, there were 2 separate courses I had to take twice. I believe in coincidences in that I think that there's something greater than us that can pull at strings in the thread of time. And that also, I guess, makes me not believe in coincidences in the randomness of it and that they mean nothing. Does that make sense?
yeah.
We'll talk about it more.
Okay.
But there are varying levels of coincidences. Like sharing a birthday is different than meeting your clone, like Laura Buxton did. Like that's at a whole other level, I feel like.
Yeah.
And since there are 7 billion people on Earth, the law of truly large numbers says, quote, with a large enough sample, any outrageous thing is likely to happen. And there's an endless amount of opportunity for coincidences to happen. One of mathematicians' favorite ways to be a wet blanket is to talk about the birthday problem. I don't know if you remember this from my birthday episode, but if you haven't heard of this or you need a refresher, the question is, how many people have to be in a room for there to be a 50-50 chance that 2 people share the same birthday?
Was it 100 people?
No.
Wasn't it really low? Like 11?
Yeah, lower. It's 23 people.
Damn.
Yes. But coincidences are typically more complex and tend to be very personal, such as it's a different scenario for there to be 23 people in the room and 2 people share the birthday versus you being in that room and somebody sharing the same birthday as you.
Right.
That adds a whole other level to it. And people are naturally egocentric about their own coincidences. They even in research rate their own coincidences as more surprising than other people's.
I mean, well, yeah, even listening to the story about Laura Buxton, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But if that happened to me, I
be
would
telling
never
everyone.
shut up about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, I remember feeling shaken to my core when that treasure was found.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
was a huge thing for us. But I'm sure people listening, even to our podcast, who obviously care about us and what we're doing here, that it was probably not as big of a shock to them as it was to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And David Spiegelhalter, the Witten Professor for the Public Understanding of Risk at the University of Cambridge, has said a coincidence itself is in the eye of the beholder. And he argues that the amazing thing about coincidences is not that they happen, but that we notice them. And that's why they happen to certain kinds of people. In his research, he realized that there are certain specific personality traits that are more common amongst people who experience coincidences than those who do not. Do you want to take any guesses about what makes you more prone to experience them?
Openness.
Ego,
Openness, ego. Okay, this is good. Any other guesses?
spirituality.
Yes, that is a big one. People who describe themselves as religious or spiritual often experience coincidences, but in addition to people who are self-referential or likely to relate information from the external world back to themselves. So you got that ego in there. People who believe in the occult and people who are high in meaning-seeking activities are all coincidence prone. People are also likely to see coincidences when they are extremely sad, angry, or anxious, which I couldn't really find out why.
I feel like when you're anxious, it makes sense because you're looking, for a pattern or a sign.
You're looking for some type of comfort.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about coincidences is that statistics tells us what happens and what the chances are that something like that happens. And a concise description of coincidences as a random chance is not enough for some people. One of them who's been completely outspoken about coincidences is the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. He came up with his own explanation. To him, coincidences were meaningful events that couldn't be explained away with cause and effect. So there must be this other force with which you could explain them. He called this force synchronicity, which to him is an acausal connecting principle. He has the idea that everything exists within one world and that everything that we experience actually has an underlying order and it structures our reality.
That makes sense.
It's a network that connects everything and everyone. And to Carl, synchronicity also accounts for telepathy and ghosts. So that's good.
Okay, how?
Because everything exists in one world in space and time.
All at once?
All at once.
Oh, okay. That makes
Yes.
sense then.
Yes. Researchers have divided coincidences into 3 different categories. There's environment interactions. This is the easiest to observe and understand. It's as if someone found money and a year later they met the person who lost it. That's actually a pretty famous coincidence. This guy, have you heard about that?
I don't think so.
Basically, this guy was at a cafe and he was dating this girl, excuse me, and he was looking for a sign that they should take it to the next step. Her name was Esther. And the cashier, when he was getting his change, he got a bill who someone had written the name Esther on it. He was like, oh, okay, that's an awesome sign from the universe. And he went home and he's like, oh, look at this. And his girlfriend was like, oh, huh. Yeah, that's interesting. And time goes on. About a year later, they end up getting engaged. And one night she tells him, she's like, I still have that dollar bill you gave me. And he's like, why? She was like, well, before we met, I wrote on $10 bills my name. And I was just really feeling down in the dumps. I felt like I would never find my person. And I said that if this bill returns to me, the person who returns it to me is the person I'm going to end up marrying. And I didn't feel like I was ready to tell you that a year ago when you gave me that dollar bill. I didn't want to scare you away, but that was just a huge coincidence.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, it was crazy. And then the second type of coincidence is the mind environment. This is like when you think of a friend and then your friend calls you the next minute later, things like that. The last one are mind-mind interactions, which are the spookiest of them all. One example is simulpathity. This is a term created by this researcher guy, Bateman. I don't know his first name because I didn't write it down. Anyway, he used it to describe the feeling of pain or emotion that you feel for someone else far away. They may not be right near you, but you feel that empathy, and sometimes it's unexplained. He got interested in this because of this interaction he had, and I'm just going to quote him. Quote, in San Francisco in 1973, I stood at a sink uncontrollably choking. There was nothing in my throat that I knew of. And then it cleared up. It was around 11 o'clock in San Francisco. The next day, my brother called and told me my father had died at 2 a.m. in Wilmington, Delaware, which was 11 o'clock in San Francisco. And he had died by choking on blood in his throat.
Oh my God.
That was a dramatic experience for me, and I've begun to look to see if other people had experiences like this, and many people have.
Yeah.
Weird.
Crazy.
Coincidence?
No, that's not a coincidence.
It's considered to be a coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah. The older I get too, the more I feel like there's unexplained stuff that isn't repeatable. So it's like science can prove things that are repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's these things that aren't repeatable, then how can we understand them when we
Look
can't
at you
test them?
learning how to not be a wet blanket.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's very
for you.
good, Alex.
I know the audience listening to this.
But it's so true. There's this element of not knowing what the cause is, like knowing everything else around it except for why or how it even happens.
Yeah.
And the different levels of coincidences are interesting too. To me, it's a very personal experience and they mean different things to different people. Some scientists believe coincidences are a result of the brain just trying to make sense of the world and, like you said, Kat, noticing patterns. Others believe that there is a much larger, unexplainable force at play. And coincidences challenge us to look at what we know could be true and what we know could be false and somehow make a decision about that interaction. And sometimes it lands us right there in the middle. We don't know why. We have the psychology to tell us about why we notice coincidences, why we want to make meaning from them. We have the stats to tell us about the probability, but we still don't know why they happen. One of my favorite lines that I heard in my research was Carl Jung talking about coincidences. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, that they're the universe's way of giving us a wink and telling us that we're on the right path.
Yes, I like to think that.
I do too. I think that believing in coincidences in the way I do almost makes me not believe in them. I don't think that they're random. I think that they mean something, and think I'll start using Carl's term of synchronicity to describe them more accurately for how I think of them.
Yeah, I like that too. And if you're someone who believes in like spirit guides or guardian angels, I feel like it can also be, like something like that. Like you said, the universe like showing you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was my short and sweet lesson on coincidences. My sources are 40 Amazing Coincidences You Won't Believe Actually Happened by Lauren Gray on Best of Life, The Myth of Coincidences and Why We Search for Meaning by Shankar Vedantam, Coincidences and the Meaning of Life by Julie Beck on The Atlantic, and How Scientists Explain Coincidence on trtworld.com.
Nice job.
That was awesome.
Thank
that was
you.
heartwarming too.
It was.
It's been like top of mind for me lately. So
Really?
yeah.
Have you had one?
I'm just reading this book called Super Attractor that's very woo-woo, but I've been doing the exercises. And just yesterday I was doing an exercise like visualizing night class being successful, and today we had the most downloads we've ever had.
Yeah.
And I was like asking something for help, and it's cool to I don't know if it's called coincidence, but it's cool feeling a sense of like if you can get in a certain attunement that you can push and like it pushes back and it's responsive.
Yes.
There's something
Absolutely. That force that you can't really see, but you can feel.
Yeah. And the more you listen and feel it and use it, the faster and bigger things happen. It's just very cool.
Yeah. It is. Well, thank you guys. If you made it this far, this is a long one.
It is. Big boy.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you liked our episodes. Thank you again, Haley Wexler-May, for picking that awesome topic. And thank you, Alec, for being willing to spend all day researching and then present that to us.
Oh,
You
it
did
was a
great
pleasure.
job.
I loved
fun.
it.
Well, thank you again for listening. Please remember to share this podcast with a friend, rate, review, and subscribe. Follow us on social media and keep listening. 3, 2, 1. Class dismissed.
Great to go.